families want to help their loved one with intellectual and developmental disabilities move on to the next phase of their life by helping them move out of their family home and into the community. Of course, many people with disabilities really want that too. And there are certainly ways to make that happen. Some are easier than others, but they all need some planning. Normally, these things are not fast, but with the right planning and supports, it is an option for many. The easiest way for someone to move out of their family home and into the community is if they have the Community Integration and Habilitation, or CiH waiver. That's the official name for what many call the big waiver. The waiver itself doesn't pay for the housing, but it pays for the staff to help the individual with their needs. Through their waiver services, they can continue to learn independent living skills, find more ways to access the community, and work toward their vision of a good life. The individual would pay their normal living expenses like rent, utilities, transportation, and entertainment costs, everything that any other person would pay when they were living on their own. Like most people starting on their own, they will likely need a housemate or two to help share with those living expenses. That's why you have a college roommate. It's the same idea here. Most people don't have the CiH waiver though, and it has now become an emergency-based waiver. More people have the Family Supports waiver instead. It offers a limited amount of waiver services each year, but with some planning and networking, it may be possible for a person with a Family Supports waiver to live independently too. There are a few ways to explore this, and this is really where the Life Course framework and the Life Course tools can really help in trying to help someone move out on their own. This is a team effort, and this is a great time to get that team together to start working toward that goal of living on their own. So you bring in family and friends. You bring in the case manager and the behaviorist and DSPs to start working toward this goal. Create your own integrated support star to identify the person's strengths and the skills they still need to work on. Staff can start working on teaching those skills a person may need to live on their own. Then move on to the relationships they have that can help them live on their own. Living on your own doesn't mean you are alone. When most of us moved out on our own, we still called mom and dad, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles when we had questions or when we needed help. I'm a grown woman who's been married for 20 years. I have kids and I still call my sister or my aunts and uncles when I have questions or when I need help with something. That's just regular life. It's the same for people with disabilities, so maintaining those relationships is really important. Maybe that's somebody coming over once a week to take them shopping or to check that everything in the home is working fine. Maybe that's sitting down to discuss finances a couple of times per month, whatever the individual needs. Roommates are a big part of this too, so it's also about finding the right roommate so they can both get along well and maybe even complement each other's skills. If you have one roommate who really loves to clean and another who really likes to cook or who is really good at laundry, they can help each other out. It's important for roommates to get along, but they don't have to be joined at the hip. It's also important for people with disabilities to have their own life and make sure that they take part in their own interests too. There are also community supports that can help. Maybe that's living in a gated apartment complex. Maybe that's hiring someone to come in and clean the house once a week or once every couple of weeks. Maybe that's learning public transportation or signing up for door-to-door transportation in your county. Maybe that's even teaching them how to use a ride-sharing service like Uber or Lyft. Find those community supports and find those community activities that they may like and enjoy, like a local art class, an exercise class at a gym or at the local Y, a cake decorating class at the craft store, or game night at a game store. The goal is to create a community, and that's all part of it. Technology also offers great tools to help people live on their own with supports. Frankly, many of these things are things we all use in our own lives to make life easier, but it can make a huge difference for a person with a disability or even an aging parent. Things like auto prescription refill, auto bill pay, or a shared family calendar to keep track of everyone's activities can be a game changer. Just because they don't live in the family home anymore doesn't mean they can't be part of the family calendar. It's a great way for both parties to stay up to date on each other's lives. You can check in with each other using Skype or FaceTime so you can actually see one another without having to make a special trip. A 10-minute FaceTime in the morning can make a huge difference and can make everyone feel more comfortable, especially when the living on their own is still pretty new. There is other technology that can help too. Maybe that's using Alexa or Google Home for everything from maintaining a shopping list to turning lights on and off. Maybe that's installing a security system that can be very involved and offer in-home monitoring, or something as simple like as a doorbell with a camera that signals to an app on your phone. Maybe that's using a specialized pill box that alerts and opens only one section so the person knows when to take their medications and make sure they're taking the correct medications at the correct time. There are a lot of technology-based options that can make it easier for a person with a disability to live on their own, and there are more options coming out every day. After that, we see where the gaps are and try to see if there are services through the waiver or through a home health agency that can help fill in some of those gaps. If those options don't work out, or if you're not ready for them yet, a group home is another option. Most people use the words group home and waiver home interchangeably, but those mean very different things to the state. A group home is usually 6 to 8 people living in a 3 to 4 bedroom house. It's also important to know that residents in a group home do not have the same special income limits for Medicaid that waiver participants have. People in the Family Supports Waiver, CiH, or A&D waivers can make up to 300% of the maximum SSI amount each month. Individuals in a group home can only make up to the federal poverty level in monthly income. If they receive more money than that each month, they will need to open a Miller Trust for that extra income. And the money in that Miller Trust will essentially act like a monthly deductible, where the extra money in the Miller Trust will be used to pay for the person's expenses first. Then their Medicaid will kick in to pay their expenses. Unlike a waiver, the individual is not paying their expenses like rent and utilities themselves. The group home will receive all of their Social Security benefits, and the person with a disability will be given a monthly stipend, often about $52 a month, for spending money and to pay for any incidentals. However, a group home provides much more structure than a waiver setting, and the group home should be teaching residents independent living skills so they can eventually move out of the group home and into a less restrictive, more integrated setting. For more information on this and other topics, visit the ARC of Indiana at arcind.org and the Indiana Family and Social Services Administration at in.gov/FSSA. For information on charting the life course and on how life course tools can help individuals and families develop a vision for a good life and identify how to find or develop supports, visit lifecoursetools.com. And please, don't hesitate to contact a family advocate at the ARC of Indiana by calling 317-977-2375 or 800-382-9100.